Eret has been in a romantic relationship with Ava Tyson for at least a little while now, and because of that, they felt some pressure and need to update their Discord mods on, what was going on, kind of their stance on things. And so they did that recently, but one of the mods released that to somebody who started a Twitter account and put all those out publicly. So before that had come out, this is what Eret had to say.
I don't know what Twitter's claiming I'm doing now, and I don't give a shit. MrBeast Expo, thought you should know. Yeah. If MrBeast Exposed is, I don't know the account, but that sounds like it's going to be so real.
Yeah, they have a drama-y sounding name, so clearly there can't be any merit to what they say. And besides that, I mean, that's a very utilitarian handle. What do I want to do with this account? Expose Mr. Beast? Oh, there we go. Mr. Beast Expo. That's what I'll call it.
You can't prove something didn't happen. The thing is always on the person trying to make the accusation. It should always be on the person trying to make the accusation to prove that it did happen. Otherwise, you could just say, yeah, it didn't happen, therefore it can't prove anything. And of course, if there's any serious shit that needs to be looked into, it should always be looked into, but Twitter likes to blow stuff up out of nothing, and I know that firsthand.
Well, seems like maybe there was some shit that you thought was worth looking into because you kind of walked back some of the stuff that about Jess, Ava's former assistant, or they go by Mooskina at GenderIllennial on Twitter. And she put out this text that she received from Eret that said, "Hi Jess, firstly, I would like to apologize. I am sorry that I talked about you so negatively in the message I sent to my staff. You did not deserve that. I deleted the message from my Discord, but once it leaked, it was out of my control. I would take it back if I could. I had been thinking about reaching out to you to discuss everything and help me understand your perspective more, but given the stakes, I felt like the last person you would want to hear from would be me. I want to take accountability and fix that now." Yeah, I mean, it's good that you want to do that now, but it's a little bit weird to not investigate that sort of thing at all when you're, even if it's not fully public, you're putting it to Discord mods. And I mean, I could be wrong. I I would expect the Discord mods to be the type that like to gossip. And, not like I can criticize them for that, given what I do, but at the very least, I do think you could expect them to be drama fiends a little bit. So I don't know how much I would have trusted them if I was in your position there. I thought I had a deeper understanding of the situation than I did. I wanted to make sure that my team would still feel able to trust me by telling them what I understood to be the truth at the time. Yeah, well, if you don't look into anything and you have a horrible understanding of the truth, not much of an excuse. You know, fair enough that you're correcting it now, but terrible, terrible excuse. I should have made sure I got all the facts right and reached out to you, but given that I never intended more than my team to see the message, I thought what I thought I knew myself would be sufficient. I was wrong. I did this without even talking to Ava, as I saw addressing my staff team as my responsibility. If she had seen it before I posted it, I know most of my factual errors would have been corrected. Well, I don't know about that because part of your problem is that you just take everything Ava says at face value. In the past few days, it has become very apparent that I do not know the full details of anything. I made multiple mistakes, and I am incredibly remorseful for those inaccuracies. It was not my place to comment on any of this, but I rely on my staff team, and when some of them came to me with concerns, I felt it was my responsibility to speak to them with as much transparency as possible with what I understood to be the truth at the time. In hindsight, I realized that I made a series of decisions that all felt like me doing the right thing, but in reality would make things worse. I acted from a state of stress, burnout, and having had little sleep over the past few weeks. I say this not to make excuses, but to share why I made missteps that I wish I had never taken. If you ever want to make an apology to somebody and for it to feel sincere, do not bring up being tired. That's the lamest excuse pretty much for anything ever, other than like, "Oh, why are you yawning so much today?" Otherwise, it's not a good excuse for anything. I cannot take back the pain I caused you, but I hope you can understand that there is no malicious intent from me. I harbor no ill will towards you. Please help me make this right. I don't have anything to hide and want to make sure I try my hardest to right my wrongs. If there's anything else I can do, please let me know. Thanks, Alistair. And fair enough. That was a solid enough apology. Thanks for reaching out and offering these words. I really appreciate it. I'll stop tweeting about you and I'll corroborate that you reached out to make things right, Jess says. And so that's what she does. She tweets out a screenshot of this conversation and says, "At Eret, I appreciate the apology and the short conversation we had. All I ever want from the people who have wronged me is an apology and acknowledgement. Eret is a good person who is in a very difficult position. I hope people can forgive them just like I have and move on." So that was like 20 or so hours before she gives this update. At Eret owned up to writing the Discord message, but is now claiming that in reality I am outside of the situation and the statement you highlighted comes with no factual backing. I believed it to be accurate at the time, but Eret and MrBeast want us to believe that MrBeast asking them not to speak publicly because they are terrified of inflaming a situation that could anger their corporate investors is something that Eret believed to be true but never actually happened. This shit reeks of covering up a SA. And when she's saying SA, she's talking about referring to the whole situation where she was working for Ava, living with Ava, supposedly in love with Ava. And so, some people are kind of contesting the use of SA. And that's just so that's what she is referring to when she says that general that whole coercive situation and that sort of idea is what she means. But yeah, so Eretz in their statement had said, Beast has asked me not to talk about a lot of this publicly as they are terrified of inflaming a situation that could anger their corporate investors. And they also said, however, as MrBeast has been under so much pressure recently, they don't want anyone to say anything publicly in case it causes more things to flare up online. So clearly, Eret was aware of this and MrBeast not wanting this to be said at the time, but now they're saying, like, oh, it wasn't my place. I shouldn't have commented on this and all that sort of stuff. It's like, well, I mean, this wasn't new information to you that they wanted to keep this quiet or whatever. And then here's them saying, I wanted to make sure that my team would still feel able to trust me by telling them what I understood to be the truth at the time. But, you didn't put much effort into understanding what the truth really was. And then this is the tweet, or not the tweet, the text that Eret sends to Jess after a while has passed between the first message where they're apologizing. So they say, I just saw your most recent tweet as I wanted to retweet your post with my apology. My information was inaccurate, as you know from other parts of my message. I was trying to reassure my mod team and give answers as to why so little had been said. In reality, I'm outside of the situation, and the statement you highlighted comes with no factual backing. I believed it to be accurate at the time, but it was mainly an assumption. So it sounds pretty lawyery. Sounds like maybe they talked to Ava and and the MrBeast team a little bit with this. It's kind of reeks of a cleanup a little bit here. I never should have posted that message. I barely proofread it. I am sorry for the stress that this has caused you, but given what I now know, I cannot be certain that any of my statement is entirely true. I wanted to clarify this as I don't want to be responsible for spreading any more false information. Thank you. So they're just trying to wipe their hand of the entire situation, bit more or less, and say, it has nothing to do with me. Talk to the lawyers, more or less. Um, and I mean, I guess if you truly believed that the message to your Discord mods would not get out, I can kind of be empathetic that this blew up in a way that you didn't expect it to. But I mean, realistically, you have 300,000 subs on YouTube, and from what you said, it sounds like you're bigger on Twitch. So you should understand you know, that especially with how big this MrBeast story is, there's a very real chance that that gets out. And besides that, you should have a responsibility to your mod team to make sure what you're telling them is accurate, because now you have to backpedal on everything that you said, and you're basically saying, I don't know what to believe at all. I don't have any statement. So if you were that ready to back down and say I don't want to be involved, why did you say anything in the first place? I don't know. Seems like you should have just made an effort to understand what Ava actually did in the past, because you're in a relationship with them. Like, that should be really important to you, the specifics here, because some of the stuff is wild, and I'm being generous by just calling it wild. But yeah, anyway, shout outs to slur.exe on Kiwi Farms. That's where I found out about this, and the screenshots were from them. But yeah, I don't know. Seems a little bit spineless to me the way Eret is responding now after, you know, they acted like they were being receptive to what Jess said, but now they're going lawyer mode, it seemed like. I don't know. We'll see how everything unfolds, but not really a great look. Not the, you know, obviously not the worst person in this situation, but not a great look.